Hello everyone. So today what we're going to be looking at is something that's a little bit more like in line with a macro pad. So we're going to take our little keyboard here and instead of just the regular like keyboard things we've been looking at, what we're going to be looking into is more like a macro pad. And we're first going to start with I have a Windows computer here, and there's actually useful little shortcuts that Windows has. So for example, if you actually press the Windows and the numbers, we actually can jump right into some of the applications that you already have set up in your toolbar. So using that, we can quickly program Windows 1, Windows 2, Windows 3, and so on to quickly jump into specific program that we just leverage the Windows functionality. We'll be able to use that for things also for OBS shortcuts or anything like that, but I think going with the Windows shortcuts will actually be useful enough to show how we actually program this. What we'll be able to do is use the same functionality, but instead of for example copy and paste like Control-C, Control-V, that could be a single key press. A shift, a letter or a number could be another key press that we could automatically program. So essentially all those modifiers, the Windows key, the Alt, Control, and Shift, we can add them together into a single key press, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. Okay, so let's jump to VS Code here, and I'm going to be using this one here. So what we're going to do now is, again, if you remember where we are in the BlueMicro firmware, and we haven't gone into the keyboards quite yet, so let's go into keyboards. If you remember, we've got a tutorial. We've got our three different keyboards. The one we're working on is the platform. But then in the key maps, we've got different ones. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a new key map. And how do we call this one? We're going to call them Modkeys, because that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. So Modkeys. And we'll just copy the base key map and configuration file. So I'm going to go copy this, copy, and then go off to our Modkeys and paste that there. So what we want to do is essentially just use 1, 2, 3, and we'll just go 1, 2, 3 just to start with here, just to show an example. And if you can see at the bottom, 1, I've got what is that thing called again? That's the assistant keyboard, or the on-screen keyboard that I've got right here. And I close that. Then my 2 is going to be calculator, which is just showed up here. Now there's a different function that we can call the calculator, which we are going to see into a different video. But then if I kind of go into some of the other ones, let's just move our Chrome all the way down to maybe number 3 here. So when we go press 3, we'll start Chrome. And then we've got a few other things. So what I've done here, as you can see, I've moved Chrome here. So 1, 2, 3, we'll just do these 3. And I've got a few windows open there. So let's go and do that. So 1, 2, 3. And if you remember, it was the Windows command, which is that left GUI. So in the previous tutorial, what we had to look at is those advanced key codes, and then in the advanced key codes we had a like these guys here, where we see use the mod macro with a specific modifier and a specific key. So what we can do is actually use that macro. So what we want is that left GUI, and we want that mod macro, which is defined right at the top here. So it's going to be looking very similar to this right here. So we've got a shift, Now see, there's like left alt, left GUI and key. Well, essentially this macro calls the other macro, so we'll use this macro right here. So I'm gonna go copy that and then go back to our key map, which is right here. And I said 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna paste that here, take my key and then put that there, and then it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. So CTRL-C, 1, 2, 3, and then we'll just replace that with the 3, 2, and then we've already got the 1. I'll leave everything else the same just to show that it all works fine here. So let's just go File, Save All. Then we're gonna go and compile this. And I don't remember if when's the last time I compiled something. So we got a flash, go to build, and it's now the tap hold layer. We're gonna be looking at the, as I mentioned earlier, the Modkeys. Modkeys, enter, and then it'll compile. We'll just leave it to compile, and it should be done pretty quickly. Now while I wait for this, I'm going to connect my little keyboard. Okay, so it all compile fine. We didn't change too many things, so it should be pretty easy. Now the flash, again, it's going to be the tutorial, but instead of tap and hold layer, we're going to have a mod keys to the platform, and I think it's still 33. Let's give it a try. Looks like it's gonna flash. Perfect. So we'll come back whenever it's done. Okay, it's done flashing, so I'll just show you that it's a Bluetooth keyboard. We're gonna go and just validate that we do have our Bluetooth settings. Let's move that here. Whoops. Move it here. Our platform is connected. Now we've got switching keys. So now we just go. 1 was the on-screen keyboard. So okay, it went over to the other side. So there it is. 2, again to the other screen. So it's right here. And then 3. We've got Chrome that just started up on my other page. Now, just to kind of show you that it works using a different tool, I'm going to be opening up this one here. I'm going to go a reset, make this bigger. So we can see we've got Windows 1, Windows 3, 2, 1. So you can see I'm very quickly pressing these, and I'm just launching or like going off to these other applications. So we actually see that it works fine here, and I'm just going to go reset here, or just reload the page. There it is, and there's 1, we got it to work there. 2, there we go. And then the reason it gets stuck there, it's because it launches something, so it actually leaves the context of the QMK configurator page there, so it doesn't actually receive the key press or key release event because it's it already launched a different application. So so we're good here. So we'll just do a reset, and just go back to the to here. So what we've done is, if we've created essentially the mod keys, we had a quick look very quickly at the advanced key codes to actually see these macros here. So with these macros, we've got 8 macros, 1 for each modifier, and we literally just say which modifier and which key code gets sent, and it just gets sent. So if we would want to have like the asterisk, or like, for example, like Shift 8 for like the star, and we could easily have the that shift, like the left or the right shift with the key code 8. If you look a little bit further up, we've got some of these special key codes like right here. So the tilde, and we've got a fully spelled out macro. So that that asterisk is right here, modifier of a left shift with 8. We've got underscore plus left bracket, right square bracket pipes. We've got already a few of these predefined using the mod keys. So we can call them directly, but ultimately these get expanded to that macro, and then ultimately that gets sending the modifier and this key code. What's possible to do as well is actually build multiple ones on top of each other. So I could call for example, if I want like CTRL-ALT-DEL, that's like the whole like reset key. We could literally go and say I'm gonna have left control inside the macro, alt control in the macro again, and then have the delete as the piece. I won't do that here, but we can essentially call a macro within a macro without having a problem here. So like a reset or control shift or anything like that for the key, it's actually very easy to do using these mod keys. So this completes the just showing you how it all works for these mod keys. So I'll complete that right now, and then we'll go on to the next tutorial. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.